Greetings, friends and fiends, and welcome to The Keep. I am Lindsay the Keeper, and it is my duty to protect this reality from eldritch horrors by reading tales from r/RPG horror stories. Now, I have a confession to make. Even though I really do love D&D and Pathfinder, I have been personally drawn by a specific TTRPG called Call of Cthulhu. If you have never heard of it before, Call of Cthulhu is the Lovecraftian version of D&D in simpler terms. This game normally takes you to the 1920s, and during that time, something in the shadows is lurking, ready to put humanity to the test of sanity, and only the brave investigators can stop it, if they make it in time. There is a bit more to it, but what I can tell you is that it has its own rules just like any other TTRPGs. It's harder to explain all in one video, but I will put down in the links from Don't Stop Thinking's Call of Cthulhu's playlist, since they can explain it better than I could. To be honest, I am a bit of a Lovecraftian D&D nerd myself. To the point I have my own player's handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide versions of this game. I have a Cthulhu plushie, it's pink, and this design is made in a gothic Lovecraftian style portrait. Mostly because I was working on a Call of Cthulhu game that is taking me a bit longer due to life reasons. However, just like D&D, there are some people who have their own horror stories of this game, but most of it is for intimate reasons. In these stories, two different OPs had shared their experience with the same person, and let's just say, it's pretty creepy. This is sort of a not safe for work story, but I will change the words as much as possible. Now, sit back, relax, and cuddle up to your favorite tendril as I begin reading these horrifying tales. Enjoy! The first story is written by Dramatically False with the title Creep Once Presumed Female to DM His Fetish Call of Cthulhu Games. For a while now, I have been spending time on this really great Call of Cthulhu Discord server, which I will call Chipotle for simplicity's sake. For those who don't know, Call of Cthulhu is basically D&D, but with the Lovecraft mythos. One night, I get a message from this man who I'll call Quesadilla. He asked me whether or not I'd be interested in DMing a Call of Cthulhu game. Confused, I asked what he wanted me to DM and why he wanted to pay me for it. Quesadilla explains that he wants me to DM an anime high school-esque Call of Cthulhu game, and I'm instantly suspicious. So, I head over to Chipotle because it's the only server me and Quesadilla share, and ask the people there if anyone knows who this guy is. Apparently, some people already know who he is, and explain to me that he's looking for people to DM his weird fetish game for money. I'm a minor. Completely shocked and terrified, I get in contact with a mod and explain the situation with Quesadilla. This mod, I'll call them Chips. Chips and I decide to do some investigation on what's going on. We discovered that everyone Quesadilla has contacted has a feminine profile picture, female characters, known females in the community, etc., as well as the fact Quesadilla has left the server after I blocked him. Chips decided to take over and message Quesadilla, pretending to be interested in DMing his weird fetish game. Chips begins the conversation by asking to DM the game with Quesadilla, and the creep seems interested. A few messages later, Quesadilla asks, "How old are you, by the way?" Chips decide to lie and say, "I'm 16. The creep responded, "Oh, cool." Then he tries to continue the conversation like normal. Chips invites Quesadilla back to the server so he can ban him. Then Chips drops the act. Chips called Quesadilla a child creeper, and the creep responded, "I prefer the term lolicon." Quesadilla seemed too dense to realize that Chips isn't actually interested in DMing his weird fetish, and ends with Chips needed to block him. In the end, I decided that it would be a good idea to post the story on Reddit, and so I did. About a day later, I'm flooded with messages of people who have experienced similar things with the same guy. I conversed with a few of them, and I'm pretty sure the guy who was currently DMing for him dropped his campaign with him. After another month, I got a message from one of the head of mods of Chipotle, asking me to send over the convo I had with Quesadilla. I said it wasn't much, but I could send over the names of those who I met on Reddit. The last thing that happened in this situation was me asking why the mod wanted the conversation, and the mod simply replied with, "I'm collecting evidence." I hope this weirdo gets what he deserves. TLDR, a creeper messages people he thinks are female to get them to DM his weird Japanese high school Call of Cthulhu games. Turns out, others know about him, and mods of a Discord server are collecting evidence about him. End of story 1. Low-key, I want some food now because of this story. Word of wisdom? Food is key to life. As I stated at the beginning, there is a second story, but from a different OP, experiencing this Call of Cthulhu fetish game that Quesadilla is trying to get started. So, let's get into it. The second story is written by _user with the title, "Guy tries to offer me $10 an hour to live out his giantess fantasy." After recently discovering r/LFG Remium, I thought it was a good idea to try and do some GMing for money. Now I admit, I pride myself on running whatever the patron wanted, whatever module, system, anything they want. So after making my first post, I decided to look around for any job postings that haven't been filled yet. It wasn't easy as most jobs were pounced on as soon as they went up, but eventually I found one post looking for a keeper for Call of Cthulhu. I was excited because it was still open and I love Call of Cthulhu. Immediately, 2 red flags were apparent. 1. This guy wanted a solo game. 2. This ad was 15 days old and hadn't found a keeper yet. So I applied, not even thinking I'd get the job as it was 15 days old. But I got a response. I was super excited, especially since this guy offered to pay the price of a full group even though it was just him. But as soon as the interview started, things went south. He started asking a lot of strange questions and requesting a very specific story. Namely, he wanted to be a Japanese exchange student coming to America with a primarily female-dominated school. Along with that, he wanted the male's height and weight to be significantly less than that of the females. The interview did not last long after that. He continually made it clear that he had a giantess fetish, and wanted me to play at a harem for him. So I bailed before it could turn into a more of a horror story. Sometimes, $40 just ain't worth it. End of story 2. There is nothing like a creep that wants to play out his fantasy and make other people uncomfortable. But what is mind-boggling is that he was asking minors to DM his fantasy. Like, do you want to get arrested? Because that's how you get arrested. Any servers on Discord that I have helped run or been a part of, there has always been an age limit, about 16, 17 at the youngest. But even if the first OP wasn't a minor, it's still pretty creepy. As for the second OP, at least he was able to see the red flags faster than most people do from just the interview itself. I do hope that he gets banned from Discord itself, or even serves some time. If you do want to play Call of Cthulhu, please do not let these stories turn you away. From my own personal experience, this is such a good game. It has a high risk, high reward feel when you're putting your characters into sticky situation. No pun intended. Plus, it's not like Lovecraft is gaining anything from this game, so bonus points. Now that the story is over, and reality is still in a state of calm, I'm going to depart for now. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos. You can also send me an email if you have a particular story that you want me to read on this channel. I hope to see you all in the next video.